Hi everyone, I'm back today with another book on Wicca. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you've seen hopefully that I've posted I think 4 parts of Wikipedia, but I got this one probably a month or so ago from somebody who was getting rid of it on Facebook. And I completely forgot that I had it, and I was just looking for the Wikipedia book because I thought I'd make another instalment, and then I thought, well, I will continue with the Wikipedia series, but I thought, well, why don't we start to explore this one together, because I haven't had a chance to read it yet. So I thought it might be quite nice to dive in together. I've literally, all I've done up until this point is just sort of flicked through and looked at the pictures, and yeah. So I thought we could explore it together. If you can hear sound in the background, that's just my, oh, you can see it as well actually, it's just my diffuser with lemongrass and eucalyptus. Let me move all of my silly coasters out of the way as well. So this one is Wicca for Everyday Living, the Definitive Guide to Magic and the Craft by Ann-marie Gallagher. So let's just dive in, shall we, and see what's in here. So we'll probably skip over the introductory stuff. We'll read this. Wicca is the religion and practice of witches, or the wise, as we are sometimes known. It has been described as the fastest growing religion in the West, though nobody really knows how many Wiccans there are in the world. Judging by the number of internet sites and formal groups cropping up around the globe, particularly in Britain, continental Europe and the USA, it is clear that the growth of the Wiccan movement is quite phenomenal. Perhaps this is not all that surprising. Okay. At one with nature, over the last few decades, public interest in the environment, in alternative healing therapies, self-development, holistic food and medicine, social justice, and significantly in alternative spiritualities and magic, has developed tremendously. Wicker explores many of these concerns within an inclusive spiritual path that honours the diversity and divinity of nature and advises its followers to harm none. Because Wicca is a religion that does not have a doctrine or a set central priesthood, sacred texts, or sets of rules, the responsibility for learning and growing within the chosen spiritual path is placed upon the individual. So it says here that Wicca is a nature religion. Wiccans see the divine in nature, both within us and around us. I've said in a video before, I think, but I don't necessarily identify as Wiccan. If anything, I'd probably, I mean, I don't know for sure, I'd probably say that I don't identify as shaman, but I find all of the kind of the spiritual religions really interesting, and I think there are bits and bobs that we can take from lots of them. So, you know, there are certain things in Wiccan that I'm really intrigued by at the moment, and then also I'm quite fascinated by Norse paganism right now. I feel very, very drawn to Odin, so I've been doing a lot of research into Odin. So I do just kind of, I think they all, you know, they all intertwine at some points anyway, but yeah, so anyway, the point was I don't necessarily identify as Wiccan, but I enjoy reading about it and learning. So this is still just the introductory stuff, but it says here, the chalice is a symbol of healing, communion, and initiation. Well, that applies for many religions, doesn't it? I mean, the things like, obviously not one with a pentagram on, but chalices like that would be used in Catholicism for Holy Communion. How to use this book? Well, we're just going to read the book. What is Wicca? Well, we kind of we covered that bit anyway. So joining, so it says here, this requires those who wish to join the ranks of the wise to acknowledge and accept the constant processes of change and development, both within us and within the world around us. This adaptability would seem to be appropriate, as apparently a secondary meaning of the word Wicca was bendy or wiggly. Okay. On the subject of meaning, there is a distinction between the way that the word Wicca tends to be interpreted in Britain and its customary usage in North America. References to Wicca in Britain have traditionally alluded to a specific initiatory system of witchcraft, as practiced within covens that follow either Alexandrian or Gardenian witchcraft, or a synthesis of both, sometimes called British or English traditional witchcraft. This definition of the term excludes solo practitioners of the craft and those groups who are rather more eclectic in their practices. In Northern America, the term is used in a more inclusive way. It refers to all those who number themselves among the wise, whether solo practitioners or members of groups who fall outside of the Alexandrian Gardenian definition. So this book is based upon the latter sense. Modern Wicca, founded by Gerald Gardner, Gardnerian witchcraft forms the basis of modern Wicca, embracing ancient traditions. It uses the pattern of the ritual circle and elemental quarters for air, fire, earth, and water. Alexandrian Wicca is a development of Gardnerian. I was reading it wrong over there. Gardnerian Wicca. And incorporates elements of Judeo-Christian sources as well as aspects of the Greek and Egyptian mysteries and Celtic tradition. It also uses the now widely recognised colours and symbolism set out on pages 30 to 33. Well, how true is that though? Because paganism predated all of the whole Christian element there. So surely it's just that Wicca is based on pagan roots. I don't know. So again, talking about what is Wicca. The Wiccan Reed. Reed is a Middle English word derived from Old English and Old High German. It's thought to mean advice. The Wiccan Reed is a guide to making decisions about how we act. The origins of the Reed are lost in the mists of time and the secrecy to which older working covens were bound, and there is some debate among Wiccan scholars about its historical roots. Okay, so these are kind of some of the principles I think that Wicca is based upon. So harm none, do what ye will. I mean, the harm none is fairly self-explanatory. I'm so sorry about the ink on my fingers. I was using my inkwell earlier and it's hard to get it off. So do what you will. The first part of the read, harm none, is emphasised in Wiccan practice because of its ethical importance. The second part of the read is equally important. Its first public appearance in 1971 was to a generation rebelling against authority and social conformity, and the advice to do what ye will was particularly timely. However, the message to follow our own counsel is still relevant today. That is a lovely picture. So the web is a Wiccan symbol of spirit and connection. So again here it's just saying that Wicca is a nature religion. Let's have a look. For Wiccans, nature is sacred because the divine is present within it, and because we are a part of nature, then we too are divine expressions of the god, goddess, or great spirit who connects all beings. The mother charge is a recitation by a priestess at Espats, the full moon celebrations. The mother charge encapsulates the importance to witches of the idea of the divine within nature and of nature as the divine. Because of this connection, there is a strong animistic tendency within the Wicca tradition which sees spirit in all things. Witches are also aware of Jenny Loki, or spirits of place, and when we are working magic or doing a circle outdoors, we make sure that we honour the local spirit of the place in which we choose to celebrate. So the Mother Charge, it says, the priestess speaks to her people and declares, I who am the beauty of the green earth, and the white moon among the stars, and the mystery of the waters, call unto your soul, arise and come unto me, for I am the soul of nature. So we're saying here about how Wicca doesn't adhere to one god or goddess. Okay. So there are various gods and goddesses that you can identify with, and different deities. This looks interesting. The goddess within. I've been working a bit on the kind of the goddess within, I guess, and divine feminine power. If you have been used to thinking of the divine as separate from humanity in the everyday world, the idea that you can treat the god or goddess as a friend might seem quite startling. But if the god or goddess is a part of us, then we too are the god or goddess. Talking to the divine in a familiar, friendly manner does not dishonour them. We are simply acknowledging and celebrating the life-affirming relationship we have with them. Wicca is a religion that combines two important elements, spirituality and magic. Although in most world religions the two are considered separate, in Wicca they are very closely intertwined. At one level, we see all acts of creation as inherently magical. For Wiccans, the most amazing magical event was the birth of the universe. Smaller but no less wondrous examples of such magic take place around us all the time. But because we are so accustomed to them, we do not notice. Love is the law. In Wicca, there is no moralistic doctrine or dogma other than the advice offered in the Wiccan Rede. We are constantly re-evaluating our understanding of what it means to be spirit in flesh. We see the body as coextensive with the spirit, and consequently as sacred. The Mother Charge tells us, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. The only law here is love, and acts of love are performed in mutuality, with permission, and not to harm, control, or disempower. In Wicca, physical pleasure is an act of worship. As spirit in flesh, we honour and give value to the body through intense connection with another human being, and in turn connect with the god or goddess through ecstasy. It matters not whether we are gay, straight, bisexual, or transgendered. The physical world is sacred, and in celebrating our physicality, our sexuality, and our human nature, we honour the goddess, giver of all life, and soul of all nature. I really like that. I very much resonate with that. I don't like the whole sex is evil, or sex out of wedlock is evil, or all those kind of things. I think if we honour our bodies, then that's really what's important, and it doesn't matter who we are or who we love. Ooh, let's dive into some of these symbols. So I might just skip over a lot of the text, I think, but obviously we know that witches will wear these symbols as jewellery on clothing, or even use them for carving into things. So this one is obviously one of the most common symbols that most people will be used to seeing. And this is obviously commonly associated with the devil and with evil, when it's actually none of those things. It's to do with the 5 elements. So it says here, one of the most commonly sported symbols in Wicca is the 5-pointed star, the pentagram. If encircled, it is a pentacle and signifies variously the circle of the earth or the unified nature of the universe. It's just so far away from what we've been led to believe. So the 5 points pertain to the 5 sacred elements. So we've got spirit at the top, we've got fire, water, earth and air. So it's worn with the point upwards. When a pentacle or a pentagram is seen with the point downwards, this is a protective or a banishing symbol. So sometimes if it's flipped, you'll see it over doorways. So I guess these are almost like, yeah, so these are the symbols that make up this really. So we have air, which is represented by yellow. So this points upwards and it's traversed by a horizontal line. Then we have fire, which is represented by red, and that also points upwards, and it's just, there's nothing inside fire. Earth points downwards with a traversed horizontal line, and this is obviously represented by green. And then we have water, which is represented by blue, and this is pointing downwards with nothing inside. And then again we just have the spirit pentagram there. So the 6-pointed star. So this unites the symbols of the 4 physical elements. So these are the 4 physical elements here. So you can see that we've got the fire pointing upwards, and then we have air with the line through it. We have water pointing downwards, and then we have earth with the line. So its symmetry visibly demonstrates the Hermetic principle, as above, so below. So this is a symbol of Hermetic significance, as well as the conjunction of the 4 physical elements. So you may have seen some of these symbols have been drawn in the background. Actually, it's only on this page. So this goes back to the web that we touched upon earlier. So the web is a particularly important symbol in contemporary Wicca. It describes the way in which we conceive of the physical and spiritual universe and the nature of magic. It symbolises sacred connection, which we also understand variously as spirit and or the god and goddess. Mazes are symbols of the left brain functions, so they represent rationality, logic and reason. Walking or tracing a labyrinth engages the right brain functions, home of intuitive and psychic abilities. A labyrinth depicts the journey from birth, through life, to death and rebirth. This symbol is found on many of the ancient monuments of the world and is fundamental to a range of diverse world cultures. The spiral has a similar function to the web and denotes the microcosmic and macrocosmic order of the universe. The spiral, like the web, is a symbol of the element of spirit. Triangles, how do you say that? Triscales? And Celtic knots. So triplicity is a favourite configuration in Wicca and resonates with the mathematical and geometric philosophies of the ancient Greeks and with the spiritual symbols used by the Celts. Triscales, I'd have to look that up. The 3-legged swirls of Celtic art depict the power of 3, earth, water and fire. Symbolically they are similar to spirals, and because the number 3 is sacred to the triple moon goddess, signify goddess energy. I really am very drawn to that one. This one reminds me of the Romans and the chariots. So the 8-spoked wheel. The 8-spoked wheel is a symbol of the sacred year, each spoke representing one of the seasonal Sabbats. So we are just about to enter Mabon, not sure how you pronounce it. Sometimes symbolises the Wheel of Fortune, so if you read tarot or you've had a tarot reading, you may be familiar with the Wheel of Fortune. The goddess of chance and fate in the Roman pantheon, so that makes sense. It comes back from I very much felt the kind of Roman influence there. And then obviously we have Egyptian symbols here, so we've got the Ankh and the Eye of Horus. So the Ankh is an ancient Egyptian. Is it called the Ankh or is it called Anchor? I think it's Ankh, isn't it? It's an ancient Egyptian symbol associated with Isis, the All-Mother and goddess of magic and healing. The loop is a yonic female sexual symbol, so that's that bit there. While the downward strut is phallic. In conjunction, these bring forth life, and so the Ankh is seen as the key to fertility. I didn't know that. Rebirth and eternal life. The Eye of Horus, her divine son, is a protection against evil and a symbol of seeing or wisdom. Horus is a god of health and regeneration, and so his symbol carries some significance for contemporary pagans. The triple moon. I adore the triple moon symbolism. I need to work more with moon energies. A full moon disc mounted on each side by waxing and waning crescents is a symbol of the triple moon goddess, the maiden, the mother, and the crone respectively. So it's the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Then we have the green man. The green man frightens me for some reason, and I don't know why, because I adore everything nature related and Mother Nature, but there's something about the green man that unnerves me slightly. Ancient depictions of the Green Man can be found all over the British Isles. In essence, he is a nature spirit, replete with leafy features and often with vegetation emerging from his mouth. In Wicker, he is seen both as an aspect of the god and as a champion of environmentalism. The Green Man is associated with the festival of Beltane and the coming of summer. So, cornucopia. The Horn of Plenty is the symbol of the ancient Roman deity Ceres, goddess of fertility and abundance. The wearing of this symbol generally denotes a wish for abundance on the part of the bearer. This is really fascinating. With all due respect to the Wikipedia book, I mean, this one is just, I love that it just dives straight in and tells you all the important stuff. I'm really enjoying this. I hope you are too. Okay, so we're going to just dive into colours. Yeah, we'll do colours and then I think we'll wrap it up for today, but I will make another video on this really soon. So let's have a look. So we have white. The colour of the moon, white is often used to invoke lunar energy in spell work. It is also symbolic of purity and light, and is often used in conjunction with other colours to denote these as aspects of the work we are undertaking. Blessing rituals generally use white candles because white promotes ideas of innocence. It can also be used to connote initiation and pure intentions. So black, red can be used to summon Martian energy, that's cool. Contrary to popular belief, black is not a colour of evil. See again the things that we're told. But the colour of potential, of space and protection. I mean, I work with black a lot for protection, not in terms of candles or spell work or anything, but all of the black crystals are very grounding and protective. It's just the crap that we're fed, isn't it? Anyway, I digress. So it's used in banishment and binding spells, as it is the colour denoting the dark part of the moon as it wanes, or the dark moon itself. Black symbolises darkness, again in Wicca not conceived as an evil but as potentially creative and inward reaching. This is a popular colour for candles if summoning dark goddesses such as Hecate, Kali or the Morrigan. And they're not bad goddesses, they're just more volatile, some of those goddesses, and incredibly powerful. So red is a primary colour denoting fire, passion, the will, courage and sexual energy. Red is often used in love spells to summon true love. The colour of Martian energy, red is used in spell work to summon defence against that which threatens or oppresses. Red is also denotes solar energy. I've been lighting red candles similar to this a lot recently just to promote self-love. So I have them in the bedroom and then I just light them when I'm in here on my own. Yellow. a primary colour denoting matters of the mind. What I would say actually on top of this, so I know we're talking about the colour representations in Wicca now, but something that I will often do is work with particular colours depending on the chakras in the body as well. So I mean, that's something to bear in mind that you can layer on top. Yellow, a primary colour denoting matters of the mind, communication, learning, movement and beginnings. Yellow is the colour of goddesses of intellect and study, such as the Greek goddesses Athene or the Hindu goddess Sarasvati, and of apprenticeship and studenthood. As with red, yellow can be used to invoke solar energy, but it belongs chiefly to Mercury, the planet of swift movement and effective communication. Blue. This primary colour is used to represent water. Consequently, it stands for healing, harmony, love, emotions, psychic abilities, dreams, and intuition. Blue is linked with planet Neptune's energy, with the darkest blues sometimes symbolising the planet Jupiter. Green, secondary colour symbolising fertility, growth, material matters, and the earth. Green is also linked with planet Venus's energy. Green is the colour of the heart chakra and symbolic of feelings, wholeness, and harmonious conjunction. So I'm glad that they've brought in talk of the chakras as well. In ancient times, regarded as the royal colour, purple is the colour of the planet Jupiter, once seen as king of the gods. Purple denotes spirituality, generosity, justice, serendipity, and wonder. Purple is also the colour of transformation, which links it back to its association with the element of spirit. A colour linked with Fortuna, goddess of the wheel of fate and chance, and with Iris, the messenger goddess of the rainbow. So then we have pink, and this colour symbolises affection, affinity, friendship. Pink candles are sometimes used in love spells alongside red and white to add these particular qualities to the others required of a prospective lover. Silver, like white, symbolic of lunar energy. Silver is worn by many witches in preference to gold, because of the emphasis on moon phases and other lunar symbolism within Wicca. Silver can also symbolise the need for money in spells for wealth. Gold symbolises the attributes of the sun, including happiness, health, fulfillment, success, and according to alchemy, spiritual attainment. Gold is often used in spells to bring health to an individual or general success to an enterprise. Rainbow, not one colour but multicoloured. In Wicca, the rainbow symbolises hope, the close interconnection between sky and earth, spirituality and physicality, and the principles of connection, coalition, and unity. Okay, so we're gonna, that was my, what do you call it? I can't think of the word. My thing that the essential oils are in, it just switched off. So this was actually a good time to wrap up. I'm really sorry if that bothered you, if you're listening to this to relax. So next time we will look at herbs, which is something that I've been working with a lot more recently, and oils, which again I've been working with recently. And then we will probably look at green witchcraft and the eight sabbats as well. So you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, we'll look at that next time. So I'm just going to pop the bookmark in there, and thank you for reading with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying this book actually. So I'm excited to read more with you. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to hit the bell to make sure you don't miss the next instalment of Wicca for Everyday Living. thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.